Hello, my wonderful friends. This is another awesome opportunity for us to look at one critical element of marriage. And I believe as you listen to this edition, you will be thoroughly blessed. Welcome to my channel. My name is Felix Okeke, and this is Marriage Without Tears channel. On today's topic, we are dealing with interracial or intertribal marriages. And if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so immediately. There's a red button by my side. Click on it and get subscribed and become part of this awesome channel. It is a channel that is entirely dedicated for the joy of married couples or engaged singles, people who are desiring to get married. This is a place where you learn all the nitty-gritty on how to actually prosper in your marriage. So be part of this channel. We are looking at interracial or intertribal marriages. When we are talking about interracial marriages, we are looking at all the races upon the face of the earth. You know, we have the black race, we have the white race, we have Hispanics, we have red Indians, we have all manner of races upon the face of the earth. And we are looking at the possibility of a particular race being married, you know, getting married from onto someone from another race. That is interracial marriages. But when we are talking about intertribal marriages, we also know that there are certain countries with lots of tribes or tribal nations or nationalities within that same entity. Like Nigeria, for instance, we have close to 250 ethnic nationalities, each of them having different cultures, different orientations, different languages, and we are looking at the possibility of someone possibly from a Yoruba race being married to an Igbo race, to an Igbo ethnic group, or someone from the Kalabari Kingdom being married to somebody from the Hausa side. This is what we are looking at today. We will look at the challenges that this kind of marriages pose. We'll also look at some certain pains that go with it. We'll also look at some certain elements, certain benefits that may accrue from it, and what the couples or intending couples can also do to make their marriages a lot smoother and a lot easier. That is the reason why we are doing this channel, this particular topic today. So just pay me undivided attention. Once again, please get subscribed to this channel and let's do this. In the first place, let us look at the challenges that this kind of marriages pose. The very first challenge is the acceptance of both families. Both families accepting one another. The family of the bride and the family of the groom accepting the fact that love must be allowed to prevail. They must be able to, walk away from some myopic kind of understanding of what the whole relationship is all about. The whole relationship is built on the premium of marriage conquering all, marriage conquering race, marriage conquering ethnic or tribal sentiment. Love conquering all. That is what the whole thing is built upon. And for a family, the very first thing that the couple may face is the other family being able to accept that this one is also just like every other marriage. That is one of the things. I have seen that cause a lot of rift, a whole lot of rift. As a matter of fact, I have a very wonderful Yoruba friend who was in love with an Igbo woman, and they did all manner of things to get their families to understand, but they never were able to achieve their purpose. At the end of the day, the intended couple simply parted ways because of the challenges they were facing, challenges of acceptance, of approval from both families. They simply had to disengage. It ought not to be so. If you are going to listen to this edition to the last, you will be able to know certain things you ought to do if you are in that kind of position right now. So family approval, family accepting that this is another union in the making, another union that transcends, ethnic and racial sentiments. It must be from that perspective. So that is one of the things that the intended couple normally faces, the acceptance of families. The second thing is, of course, in the same realm, the families accepting the fact that what is happening is not is not unusual. I have seen families, the moment they see their man or their woman getting hooked up with somebody outside of their race or outside of their culture or outside of their tribe, it appears that that person, as if that person is making a grave error, as if something omen, something negative is about to happen, as if somebody is about to pollute or contaminate the bloodline of the family. This is terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. We must begin to look at the earth and the people of the earth as one. It does not really matter your color. It does not matter the color of your skin. What matters is the man of the inside. What each person carries as a virtue, that is what matters. What the couple are bringing to the marital table, that should be the major concern. But the major concern of most families is really looking at their boy or at their girl as making the right choice. They think possibly because the white is about to marry to the black, then the white is about to contaminate the blood of the ancestors. Is about to contaminate the family bloodline. That is very terrible. I have also seen some certain places where the black lady was never allowed to bring it. I mean, even in United States tomorrow, if you see a black man and a very wonderful white lady moving together, it appears as if one is taking advantage of the other. Nobody sees it from the love perspective. Nobody sees it from the passion side of it. It appears as if you have come to take away one of us, as if you have come to deprive us. I mean, it ought not to be so. That is one of the challenges most couple or intended couple face when they find themselves in interracial or intertribal kind of relationship. That's one of the things. And then, of course, we have the cultural differences. The cultural differences, which is very, very important in this kind of relationship. There are situations where, and cultures and ethos where, the cultures of a particular ethnic group or a particular tribal group is not acceptable before another ethnic group. I will give you an example. In the Yoruba culture, for instance, a young man is not actually allowed to greet the elder standing erect. No, you must bow, almost bowing to your knees. And if you're a woman, you want to greet an elder, you practically kneel down in order to greet an elder. And for a young man too, in the Yoruba kingdom, you don't stretch out your hand except the elder, first of all, stretches out his hand to greet you in handshake. As a young person, you don't stretch out your hand. There are so many instances of that. I remember a time a younger brother of mine was getting married to a Yoruba woman. We came as an entourage from my own side and from the Igbo side. We came as an entourage. When we arrived at our potential in-laws' home, we were required to lie down flat. Every person from the oldest to the youngest, every person from our crew, from my father to people that were older than my father, they were made to lie down. I mean, lie down with their stomach on the ground as a kind of cultural, this is their cultural way of saying, please, can you give us your daughter? We were not allowed to make that standing up. And to some of the people who were traditionalists in my own side of the tribe, they felt slighted. But we had to do a whole lot of things to get them to understand that this is a cultural perspective. And since we have come to pick somebody from the other tribe and we actually need that person, why don't we do what needs to be done and walk away with our prized possession? That is the way we looked at it. So we had to, obey and do what they asked us to do. And at the end, everybody laughed over it. So there are differences. There are cultural differences. In my side, the Igbo side, for instance, there are some certain festivals you are not allowed, no matter who you are, to come out in the night. There are some masquerades that you are not allowed to take photo shots of. No matter who you are, you can't take photo shot of it. As a matter of fact, there are so many fetish things that are done in some certain places that even when you take the photo shot, you will not see the photograph. You will not see the imprint of the people you took shot. You can't even see their imprint in your camera. So there are so many things. There are so many cultural differences, and these are some of the challenges that they face. I know of somebody who came from Europe carrying a German wife, came home to Nigeria, and it was like, it's taking me to my next point. It's like the friends of the young man and some of his former associates were practically ostracizing him. He was no longer part of the crew. It's like, what did you go to do? Did you go to Germany to pick up this white trash? I mean, these are the way, and he found himself totally ostracized from his fellows. These are some of the challenges you face in instances of interracial or intertribal marriages. And in the next session, I will also tell us some of the things you need to do as an individual to lower down that kind of the negativism, that kind of disadvantages that go with interracial or intertribal marriages. Stick with me. Meanwhile, please look at this red button by my side. Click on it and get subscribed and be part of this awesome channel. Now, what are the things you ought to do? Especially either you have entered into that relationship and you're already married, or you're about to be married, but you are connected with somebody, across the race or across the tribe, and you are bent on going on with that relationship. What are the things you ought to do? Number one, you must begin from day one to educate one another on the traditions, the rights, the values which your families hold sacrosanct. There are some families that value their name more than all the gold in Fort Knox. There are families that value, that are very, very humble, that anything called pride is not allowed in their midst. There are families that, that care for one another, that once a brother is rising, other brothers are getting connected to him, and he's helping other brothers to come up. If you as a person, you are not educated, you are not, you don't have this understanding, there's a tendency for you to always antagonize your husband or antagonize your wife whenever a brother comes in for help. So you must begin to educate one another on what is obtainable, what prevails in your family. You have to know it ahead of time, so that when you are in that union and you encounter such things, it will not be seen negatively. You will warm up to it because you have an understanding of these values already. Values of integrity, values of wisdom, values, all manner of values that people hold sacrosanct in families. They are there. There are families that no matter what happens, they must have a family reunion at the end of every year. These are values they hold, so that no matter where you are, whether you are in Europe or in US or in Canada, wherever you may be, you will come with your wife to that reunion, so that you become part and parcel of that family, that greater house. There are families like that. So educate one another on the values that you hold sacrosanct. Very, very important. The second thing you must also do as individuals in such a relationship is to begin to educate one another also on the cultural values of your people. What happens amongst your people, amongst your tribe, amongst your race, that because you are getting married now, your spouse or your bride or your bridegroom should not see it as something out of place. No. The moment you are getting married to a particular tribe, you are also marrying the tribe, because the cultural orientation of that tribe is coming into your home as a result or as a reason of the man or the woman you are marrying. So get acquainted with the cultural values of such a particular race, the cultural values of such a particular tribe. You also need to do that. Another very important challenge which I actually failed to mention is the case of language. Language is very important, because language is the symbols by which a particular tribe or a particular race communicates. Is very, very important that as you are getting involved in such a family, you must begin to learn their language. You cannot be married to an Indian and yet you don't know the Indian language. You cannot be married to an Igbo man and yet you don't understand Igbo, because when you are in the midst of the greater house or the community, you will appear like a stranger and a foreigner if you don't understand these languages. So it is necessary that you begin to learn from their languages. And speaking to you, if you are in the United States and you are coming to Nigeria as a reason of marriage, or you are in Nigeria and you are coming to UK as a reason of marriage, begin to learn one another's language. Language is very important because it's the communicating channel between you as a couple and between you and other members of the extended family. So you must begin to appraise yourself with such information. Very, very important. And I believe as you are doing so, your marriage will not only become smoother and joyful, but the support ring around your marriage, which is actually your greater family, your nuclear families, it will become wider and it will become more awesome as the years go by. I will not end this edition without actually telling us some of the benefits, because there are very mighty benefits in interracial and intertribal marriages. One of the big benefits is that you have a wider family. You have a wider connection as a family. Can you imagine somebody from the US being married to a Nigerian? You not only become a citizen of the United States, you also become a citizen of Nigeria by marriage, and this is vice versa. Can you imagine somebody from India being married to somebody from United Kingdom, for instance? You are married. The tentacles. Your connections become wider, as a matter of fact, and these wider connections brings with it lots of opportunities, either for the spouses involved in the relationship or the children that is the product of such a union. It becomes possible for the children to rejoice in the citizenship of both nations. They can actually take up positions of authority. They can actually study or do all manner of things in both countries or in both tribes. These are some of the advantages. Wider family, bigger connections is very, very important. Is a great benefit. Another great benefit also is the more you begin to learn the language of one another, you also discover that your circle of operation, your circle of influence, or your understanding of life increases. Your understanding of the dynamics at play in different societies increase. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing, really. And another benefit is that love has conquered. Love has conquered all. Love has conquered all tribal sentiment. Love has conquered all ethnic and racial bigotry. Love has conquered all manner of things that people whip up as a reason for denying one another the joy of love. Love conquers all at the end of the day. It's this is awesome. This is awesome. As a matter of fact, every person upon the face of the earth should rejoice when cultures and races and tribes are getting married together. That is what makes the earth to work as one. Marriage is a wonderful thing. And if you are in an intertribal or interracial marriage, I believe God that this very particular edition will speak volumes for you. So I thank you very much for taking out time. But before you check out, please, there's a red button by my side. Click on it and get subscribed, and let's do this the next time. My name once again is Felix Okeke. I'm your marriage counselor and coach. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have an awesome time.